What's up, AMP family? It's Coach TJ and Coach Rob, and today we're actually going to be going over the year of development, okay? So this is something that we're all kind of focusing on right now, is where our focus should be in the time when there's probably not going to be any sport competition going on for at least 6 months, if not up to a year, sadly. But we want to go over the things that you guys should be focusing on so that we can get the most out of this time and we don't put it to waste. And then when we're able to get back on the field and on the court, then we're going to be able to be our best, the best version of ourselves. All right, so today again, we're just like, we don't know. 2020 to 2021, there's going to be some times when there's a lot of uncertainty whether we're going to be able to play specific sports, especially the contact sports. So we're just going to go over what we should be able to look at for the next 6 to 12 months and what we can handle, what we can manage, and what we can obviously help you with. All right, so the first thing that we want to talk about is pretty much narrowing your focus and restructuring your goals, right? So just the first thing is really just to see where you're at today and how are we going into this time frame? Are we in the best shape of our lives? Are we as strong as we can possibly be? Have we been diligent with our training up to this point? Or is this something that we really have to get back on track, right? So Coach Rob and I have been talking about, just the ways that once we get everybody back into the gym, we need to get reevaluated, right? And, I think the biggest thing is just to see where everybody is. I mean, everybody's going to come out of this thing. You're either going to see that, wow, that person was working their ass off, or who is that person? Like they don't look like they used to, at least before this whole thing happened.
So I'll just get everyone's weights, verticals, broad jumps, maybe a 10-yard dash time, and maybe see how far they can carry, farmer carry.
Yeah, I mean, and these are a lot of the stuff that we're doing right now at home. Like, you should have at least been able to maintain a lot of those strength numbers, but to be honest, like, you probably weren't able to push yourself the way that you would inside of AMP. No. But it's just a good way to look at this honestly, right? And then we can kind of see, okay, this is where you were before quarantine, right? And now this is where you are out of quarantine. It's probably 3 to 4 months after, or maybe longer than the last time they've been reevaluated. And again, that's why it's so important. That's why we take so much time to dial in those evaluations, so that we're not just grasping at straws, right? We're not just giving you a program and then hoping for the best. Like, we have to assess and see, okay, this person's vertical jump went up 12%, or their farmer carry, they were able to carry the same weight but for longer. Their posture improved. They're just overall, like, they just look better. That's a really big one. It's just to get like an honest, whether it's an opinion yourself, where you're looking in the mirror, or it's obviously going to a coach and having that outside eye looking at you and saying, okay, listen, this is where we really need to focus. And hopefully we're not too far set back. And that's really what the main focus for this time was, to maintain, right? Maintain what you've gained and do your best to just make sure that we're not dipping during this time. We want to play for the tie, right? We want to make sure that we're just not
break even.
Exactly, break even is our best analogy there. All right, and then the next thing is that we want to improve our routine, right? Again, this is something that we've been hammering home. It's the number one thing that you lose when you don't have class, you don't have your specific times that you're working out, you don't have a specific time to go to bed. So really dialing in your routine is a big thing, right? And what are some ways that you would say that we've been able to kind of teach some of our athletes to do that?
I would say the biggest thing would be during this time is getting a relatively same sleep schedule. Mm-hmm. So getting to bed around the same time, waking up around the same time, which they can only control so much without an alarm clock, but probably getting to bed at the same time every night.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Biggest thing.
We're seeing a lot of late night video games and things that are, obviously not going to be the best case scenario when it comes to your performance. And we've kind of talked about circadian rhythm and why that's so important. If you're going to bed at 3 a.m. and waking up at 11 or 12 or 3 in the afternoon, then you're going to be all thrown off. You're not going to see much sunlight either. So, and then the other way to do that, a simple way to just stay on track, is to set that in your calendar, right? Set it in your calendar, set a daily reminder or a daily, schedule, like you would schedule a class or an appointment in your calendar for, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays when you're going to strength train. If you normally do that, your body's normalized to doing that around 3 o'clock, then fit that in your schedule and make sure that you're dropping what you're doing right now and get that workout in, right? Same thing with nutrition. If you're looking to put on body weight, if you're looking to improve body composition, you have to eat. And you can't just have one big meal a day and then a bunch of snacks, right? You have to, if you're only up for 12 hours a day, you've got to eat, right? Sleeping 12 hours is fine. I wouldn't say it's the worst thing for an athlete, no. But if you're just then waking up and you have no plan, then that's where it's a slippery slope. And I would imagine a lot of our athletes are going to be walking through the door very skinny.
Very skinny.
So, or the opposite, where they're just, just been eating Oreos all night. So that leads us off to dialing in your nutrition, right? So we're kind of going in an order of importance here. So dialing in your nutrition is a really big one. And we talk a lot about nutrition. We talk a lot about protein intake, how many calories you're eating. But now is the time that everything is controlled, right? Right now, we're not going to be in a classroom for at least another 3 to 4 months. So you're going to be either cooking from home, you're going to be ordering in, you're going to be staying local, so you know what your choices are, right? I think that's sometimes you have too many choices and it becomes difficult to actually have a plan because every day is different. Right. So now that every day is the same, which every day is Tuesday, right? So what are some things that they should be focusing on here? Let's just say for somebody that's looking to gain muscle and improve body composition, what is the main thing that they should be kind of focusing on now if they're not hitting their goals?
I would say depending on their goals, if they're trying to gain weight and they're not gaining weight, got to eat more. If you're not gaining weight and you want to lose weight, but you keep gaining weight, you got to eat less.
Yeah,
so
pretty simple
things, and probably just eat enough protein throughout the day.
Yeah, I mean, it's really as simple as that. And a lot of times we try to get too complicated with nutrition, but if you're not dialed in and consistent for a certain period of time, let's call it maybe 6 to 8 weeks, of where you at least know how much food you're eating and whether you're having a food journal, you're taking pictures of your food. Again, it doesn't have to be that complicated, but a lot of the time people think that they're eating more than they really are. Whether it's calories, just overall, like the amount of food, and then like we said, secondarily, the macronutrient that we focus on the most is protein. If you don't have a high protein diet or higher protein than most, then you're probably not going to support muscle gain and muscle retention as well as somebody that is taking in at least, and we have our ranges, but at least 0.7 to 1 times your body weight in grams, right? So if you're a 200-pound male, then you should be taking in anywhere between 140 to 200 grams of protein a day, right? You don't want to start at 200. You don't want to start at the top. You want to start at the low point of that range and then gradually increase. And again, these are all just ways that we can, understanding snacks that you should be eating, things that you should be focusing on when you sit down to your plate, knowing what you should have, the variety of food. And again, it's now is the time to test these things out so that then we can maintain it. It's much easier to learn a new skill and maintain it than it is to try and learn a new skill while all these other things are going on at the same time. So again, narrowing your focus and focus, routine, that all plays into the plan here, right? Big one, resolving injuries, right? Injuries and or dysfunctions. So when you come here initially, your first visit is an evaluation, right? So we're going to evaluate first and foremost. We ask you about your injury history. Why are you here? A lot of the athletes that we work with have dealt with injuries, and that's part of the reason why they start with us in the first place. But then also when we evaluate them, we might find some dysfunctions that may lead to an injury. So we want to do the best that we possibly can to correct those dysfunctions, those movement patterns that need to be improved. And then also that's going to make you a more durable athlete, right? So durability is huge. And if you're an athlete that's been injured over the last couple of years, this is the time. This is actually, I think, like we talked about the other day, it's a blessing in disguise for most of our athletes that have been dealing with these nagging injuries, whether it's something that your doctor may have recommended surgery that you didn't necessarily want to do it at the time because you knew how much time you'd have to take off. If it's still nagging, maybe now's the time. I'm not saying that everybody should go out and get surgery, but it might be the time if it is serious enough, right? And then also, fixing these deficiencies, now's the time to really focus on your warm-up, right? We put the corrective exercises in the program, but does everybody do them?
Nope.
Right? We're not focusing enough on the things that are going to, they pay dividends down the line, right? You invest in the time now, and then a year from now, it's actually going to be easier for you to warm up because you've already corrected a lot of those, whether it's postural issues, flexibility issues, structurally, stable shoulders, hips, core. All of those things are really what we build into the programs, but most of the people just want to focus on getting stronger, right? Stronger and faster. All right, and then the last one that we put here is challenge yourself to meet strength benchmarks, right? So we have a lot of information in the industry from some really smart strength coaches, right? Coach Mike Boyle has been in the industry forever. He almost kind of invented this industry in the first place. So he's actually got a lot of benchmarks that he will kind of assess where his athletes are when it comes to their overall strength. And it's really important to just have an idea of where you should be. And we shouldn't be comparing a 250-pound lineman to a 120-pound point guard, right? So we want to make sure that we're basing it off of body weight and also with the goal in mind. But some of these are pretty basic, right? So Coach Rob's going to go through kind of like what we would like to see on a trap bar, a chin up, and then a sled push.
So for a trap bar deadlift, we'll normally not do 1 rep maxes during our programs, but for just the sake of having a benchmark, it would be about 2.25 to 2.5 times body weight for a male, and then for female, about 2 to 2.25 for female. So that's just a 1 rep max on the trap bar. So a 200-pound male would be about a 500-pound 1 rep max deadlift.
Right, and then with the 1 rep maxes, like we can equate a 5 rep to a 1 rep.
Like 405 for 3, probably get 500 for 1.
So there are a bunch of equations for that. Like Coach Rob said, it really isn't worth doing a 1 rep max in the gym because you're putting so much stress on the athlete that you can get hurt. So we like to keep our ranges, probably rep ranges, at least above 3 most of the time.
For the most part,
but definitely.
Then we got chin-ups. So for a chin-up, it's a 5 rep max. For males, 1.3 to 1.4 body weight. And then females is 1 to 1.1. So that's on top of your body weight already. So for a 200-pound male, what was that, 230?
We've got 260
pounds.
So it'd be a 60-pound
So a 60-pound weight vest, something hanging on you for 5 reps on chin-up, which is going to be pretty hard to begin with.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the more difficult benchmarks to get to begin with.
Yeah, if you can get about like 12 to 15 strict pull-ups with your body weight, it's a pretty good starting point.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
Like if you don't have a dip belt or something to put weight on or a weight vest, that's a good place to start. But yeah, relative strength, that has a lot to do with durability too, right? If you can do those pull-ups with your body weight, probably means you're pretty good body composition. Because if you're like 30% body fat and you're trying to do pull-ups, a lot of that weight is not muscle.
Right.
So if you're 200 pounds but maybe 10% body fat, then most of your mass is muscle and fat-free mass.
And then the last one would be a sled push for 10 yards. Male 4.5 to 5, female 4 to 4.5. So it's about a 200-pound male would be a 1,000-pound sled push for 10 yards, which sounds hard. It's probably, I would say that's probably easier to get to than the 5 chin-ups with 60 pounds on you. But still, like that's still a decent amount of weight to push for 10 yards.
So one of our athletes, Sean Lane, I think he challenges that just about every day.
Every single day for 20 yards.
Yeah. So just to kind of give you some context around like what our goals should be, right? If our goals are not in competition, now you have to kind of compete with yourself. But don't put yourself in a category with somebody that's so much larger than you or maybe plays another sport that those parameters might not be as specific to your sport, right? So just wanted to kind of, shed some light on what you should be focusing on in the next, let's just say, 6 to 12 months. Not to say we're happy about that, but again, it's focusing on what you can control, your athleticism, your strength, your health, your routine. So really, we're attacking this from all angles, right? Your recovery, recovering from injuries. It's so important to do what you can with what you have right now so that we're not scrambling to get ready, right? One of the quotes that I love, I think it was Will Smith, I don't know if he came up with it, but it's stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right? So if you were ready for the season these last couple of months, and now we're just in the maintenance phase, right? We're maintaining so that we're staying ready and so that we don't have to scramble to get ready. But now it's really get better, right? You can improve your baseline over this time and then maintain it. Now you're just the best version of yourself, right? So it's again, we actually do get excited at times with just what we're able to do. And we feel bad about, a lot of the specific scenarios where athletes are not getting recruited as well. They're going into their senior season, or they missed their senior season. All those things are just terrible. But again, sometimes you just have to look at the bright side, and we're all on the same playing field at this point, right? We're all kind of, the playing field is level, and we're going to do our best to just, again, focus on what we can control. Still working on your skill, still working on drills. You may not be able to go out and play your sport, but at least you can do your drills. Outside, as soon as the bans and the restrictions are let up, and then as soon as AMP is able to open, then that's what we're going to be focusing on, is kind of getting everybody back on track and setting new goals. And now we can set even bigger goals because we have all this extra time, right? So guys, I hope that you found this informative, and I hope you're motivated for the year ahead. I thank you for watching this video, and if you have any questions, feel free to just message us here, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. And we're going to do our best to get everybody in the best shape of their life, become the best version of themselves, so that once we're able to play again, we're out there having fun, staying healthy, strong, powerful, athletic, and just being the best that they possibly can be. All right? We'll check back soon, and if you have any questions, message us right here. Thanks. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, do us a favor, give us a follow, like it, and share with a friend.